waking up with Mark Nolan, Jimmy Malone, Chip Kullik, and Tracy Carroll. It's the Magic Morning Show.
Nolan, Malone, and Kullik. Magic 105.7.
A lot of different ways to get the Magic Morning Show. You can listen in if you're out of town at iHeartRadio. Pick us up there. The podcasts are always up at WMJI.com. The one with Mark Maron should be up any minute. Definitely worth once you get into work. If you didn't catch all of it, click on that and take a listen. Maron's a funny guy. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah,
anyway.
He's a good dude.
God bless him.
I enjoyed him.
So it's 8:08 now. We go to the phones here, and joining us, we've got Renée Byer, who's talking about the living on $1 a day, and we've got some copies of it in the studio here, and Pound for Pound has to be one of the best books out there for sure. Renée, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm awake.
There you go. That's all we can ask. That's all we can ask.
You know, Renée, I bet a lot of people, when they just hear the title, Living on $1 a Day, they may think, oh, this is one of those people who wants to show how you can, not spend any money and, live a good life, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a much different book. You're talking about people who really only have less than $1 a day.
Yes, slightly over 1 billion people on the planet live on $1 a day. And while the reasons for their poverty may be different across geographic regions and political circumstances, the results are much the same. Extreme poverty robs people of options in life, and that cycle is nearly impossible to break without help.
Yeah, now, in this country, I talk about how hard it is to break the cycle of poverty, but there are, people ways to break through it sometimes. So you're talking about countries where like everybody's poor. So how do you break out of that?
Yes, I traveled to 4 continents and to 10 countries. So we had a very diverse mix of countries and people. And it's very hard without help. So in the United States, there's a level of poverty, and I've also reported on that quite extensively. But this level is beyond your imagination.
Yeah, we'd be the richest poor country.
Yeah.
Because if you had a poor person, living on what they do here in considered poverty, they'd be rich somewhere else.
Yeah, they would be, actually. They would be. Most all people here would be.
We're talking. Go ahead, Renée.
Well, I mean, this is just really about, having a shared humanity, and that, and looking beyond, so many times tourists will walk by people in these other countries and as if they don't exist. This book gives them all a name and a face. We went very, intimately into people's lives, to record what their lives are really like. And most of them are all working, which is the other surprising factor. It's not that everybody has, some kind of a jobs that we would never want to do. Like in the sewers, climbing into the sewers in India, and, sifting through e-waste in Africa. And, of course we have prostitution in the United States, but also, the forced prostitution in Bangladesh and India and all over the place. It's all pretty horrendous.
Do some translations for us money-wise, like say the person who is sifting through the sewer or whatever. But in American dollars, what are they looking at per day or per week or per month?
We're talking $1 a day.
I mean, literally.
Almost everyone was, $1 to $2, okay? Some people were fortunate maybe to make $2. But, yes, we are literally talking about $1.
And in some of those places, if I understand it correctly, Renée, even that they don't get that because they'll charge them some fee to put them up in a rundown apartment or house packed with, 50 people to a room or something like that.
Yes, no, there was a place in Africa where these women carry these big, heavy, you've seen them, big pans with like fruits and vegetables on their heads. And if they're lucky, if they can make $1 or $2 a day doing this, they get up at 3 in the morning and they work until, 10 hours, hoping that they can, be one of the ones selected to carry these from one side of the city to the other, and they're all sharing one room, like 18 of them, and then none of them have bathrooms or electricity or anything that we would find, normal here in the United States.
Do they feel bad for themselves? Because I know you're trying to make us feel, bad for them, but if they're all living in the same situation, are they kind of used to it?
I think they're in survival mode. So they're they're used to it, but I don't think anyone really gets used to that. I mean, they need help, and many of them don't know exactly the help that they really need because they just have never been around what we have here in the United States. So, they're surviving in the way that they know how to survive. And so there's a place up in India. There was a slum that I visited in India. This is a good example where there was a mother who was, I photographed a 22-year-old mother who was starving her child so she could use her to beg on the streets to earn money for other children. The child was 2 years old and weighed 9 pounds.
Wow.
Now, sacrificing one child to feed your others is unimaginable to us. This photograph is so searing that I fear, people will dismiss it. Something alien, foreign, something so outside their experience that it doesn't feel real, but it is.
Renee, what if anything, and we're talking to Renée Byer, she has a book, Living on $1 a Day. Here's, this, I don't know if you get into this in a book. There are people who work like, say, I buy a chocolate candy bar, and I go, oh, I love this chocolate, but some kid somewhere is working in some really extreme conditions sometimes to produce this chocolate bar, or this diamond, or this pair of shoes. Or whatever. Can we do anything? Because a lot of times people say, well, at least they have a job. If we stop doing all this stuff, they wouldn't have anything. What can we do?
Well, I mean, what we can do, it's a much bigger level. I mean, on our own level, we can push our, okay, here's a good example. The United Nations Millennium Development Goals come up for review in 2015. To bring the awareness to the people at that table, to put this book in the hands of everybody at that table. Now, this book, let's describe the book a little bit. The book is a huge coffee table book. It is 350 pages and has 215 photographs in it that are a testament to the survival of these people.
Now, the way you've done this, you've taken individuals, like I'm just leafing through here, and there'll be one page, there'll be the individual, and you'll tell their story in a few paragraphs there. So it's not, if you are sitting down to read this book or look at this book, you're not going to be, it's not 20 pages of the story about one particular person. It's a page at a time, so it's easy to actually take a look and leaf through.
Yes, it is. It's very easy, and it's, it's readable for everyone from, even a high school student all the way up to, the President of the United States. I mean, it's very readable, and it's got great resources in it. That's the other thing. At the end of every chapter, there are all of these great nonprofits, great philanthropy going on that you can, choose whatever you want, whatever your interest is. It goes over so many different issues and so many different, countries, so you can have a real scope as to what's happening, and you can decide for yourself what you feel like your heart might go out to.
From what you found, is there a country out there that is ahead of everybody else as far as helping these underdeveloped and underfunded countries? I mean, you were just talking about the UN, but our first instinct is, well, the United States is in the lead with a lot of aid, but we don't know that. Who is?
Well, it's not so particular like that, but I think it's, every country does good things as well. I mean, it's just that, some may be a little bit more advanced than others, depending on the situation and the place that you're visiting. In Peru, I visited an orphanage, and this one was housing more than 830 abandoned children who were all smiling and learning and loved by the founder, Miguel Rodriguez. And so, he knew every child by name, embraced each one with a kiss on the cheek every day, and he embodied the example of extraordinary changes for the good that one man can achieve. So you can see, even in that story in the book, that it's not impossible to make change and to do things, but we all need to have this sort of call for awareness, this call for action. And, and I hope, in my lifetime that we can all have this shared humanity, and we can all see that they're not going to break the cycle without some help.
Renée Byer, Living on $1 a Day. I was in the book on page 282. You list the 10 worst countries to be born in, and the statistic is shocking. Sierra Leone is the worst. They say
no surprise.
Yeah, 185 out of every 1,000 children born in that country die before their 5th birthday.
Jeez.
Let me say this. This is another statistic that's really pretty harrowing, is that 18,000 children a day die from causes that are preventable. I mean, if that isn't enough to try to, like, do something, I don't know what else you can say.
And you're talking about inoculations, simple inoculations for basic diseases that we, get inoculated for at a very young age.
Well, and, just simple things like just not being able to control diarrhea. I mean, just, having malaria. So many of these children that I photographed had malaria, and, there was no help or any sight of any health care anywhere.
Now, earlier you said tourists are there and they walk by as if these people don't exist. What do you expect them to do? If I'm on vacation, I'm not going to acknowledge every person who's on the street. I mean, what do you expect a tourist to do?
That's a tough one, because some of the nonprofits in some places will say that, some of the children are being exploited, so if you put money in their basket, that you're making the situation worse. But then there are others, if you stop and actually talk to them, like the little girl that I spoke to in India, who was literally on the side of the street in a wheelchair, and she was blind. And by putting a few dollars in her basket, you actually would have helped her family. So, maybe stopping and talking to them instead of walking by them might be a start.
But I didn't go there on vacation to do that.
No, I understand that. But, we all need to have a shared humanity, and we all need to see people for, beyond just that fact. And it doesn't take that much time to actually stop and throw a few dollars or give somebody a few dollars. But, maybe you take that away, and maybe you look at that, maybe when you get back home from vacation and you figure something out. But it's just, there's too many people just walking by. It's
But you see that everywhere you go, even in America, you'll go on vacation, you'll see people like that. I mean, are you supposed to stop at every single person, give them $1 or $2?
No, not every single person. There are things that you can do.
But would that also create another danger, though? Like you were saying, here's a lady who wanted to starve her kid so she could use him or her to beg. Yeah. If tourists start saying, this person looks so desperate, we're going to give them money, would that encourage people to... Because I forgot what country...
There's a lot of people. It's not just one girl who's on the street. You're going to walk down a row of people.
Wasn't there a country where they used to, force the kids to get an amputation so it looked more...
There's a lot. You're still there.
Yeah.
No, there are, but there's, in almost all of these communities, there's nonprofits and there's people that are helping. There's social workers and there are places that you can go and make a difference.
Well, this is a beautifully photographed book with very difficult subject matter for sure. And just thanks for taking some time with us here. Renée Byer, the name of the book is Living on $1 a Day. And best of luck to you, and best of luck with the book. We appreciate it.
Oh, yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Majic 105.7 and 8:30 right now.
And coming up next, and I'm a little bit offended by this, but anyway, coming up next we have Todd Messick to talk about the Rock Hall inductions. Why?
So why are you offended?
Well, I was there. I don't know why I can just do this myself and just tell you about it. Much like I was at Woodstock.
Yeah.
Much like I was
How'd you get back so fast?
I took a
private jet.
Lear?
Yeah.
Corporate charter.
I don't want to get into all those details, but yes, I was there. But anyway, we'll let Todd.
Well, if you don't want to get into details,
that's
why we're talking to Todd.
I want to get into the details of the induction, not my personal travel is what I'm talking about. But anyway, we'll talk to Todd.
Fill it on your report.
We'll talk to Todd. There's no report to fill out.
No money, no problems.
That's how I roll. That's how I roll.
This just in, it is still raining.
Yeah. It'll get better, right?
It's just in.
It's still raining.
I'm hearing good things about the weekend. Like tomorrow, I think is the best day of the weekend, and then Sunday we may see some.
I thought Sunday was temperature-wise the best.
Yeah, temperature up on Sunday, but 72
maybe some rain. Is what it keeps going up.
Tomorrow with sunshine, though. We'll take that. And then, have you heard anything about next week? Have you guys heard the
I saw
S-word?
Tuesday.
The S word is being thrown around.
Come on.
A couple of S words are being thrown around. When you see the forecast, you say a different S word.
Man.
Holy S word.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Indians are playing those 2 days in town.
Well, you're all welcome. That's all I'm going to tell you. You're all welcome.
Man.
The fact that I'm going out of town means that the weather's going to be beautiful here.
And then when you come back, you bring them back with you.
I know.
So.
This happened.
Stay there.
This happened to you when you went to San Diego. It happens.
Chip, don't give us one more reason to wish you weren't here.
Don't give me another reason to wish I wasn't there.
Todd Messick, we'll talk to him in just a couple of minutes about the Rock Hall induction. Real quickly, there's a dairy in Illinois, and they, after they did eggnog and that kind of stuff, they said we should do different flavors year-round. Right now they have out jelly bean milk.
No thanks.
That sounds very, very sweet.
What flavor, though?
See, someone said jelly beans come in a number of flavors.
Hopefully not black jelly bean, not the licorice flavor.
They have sort of like a generic jelly bean flavored milk. They also have chocolate marshmallow milk, and they said they have more. They're going to have more to come this summer. They're sold out. They also had red velvet milk.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Chocolate marshmallow sounds good
milk
to me.
And red velvet cake is one thing. Red velvet cake. Milk is. But anyway, they're going to keep. They're selling out. They're going to keep trying wacky
It
flavors.
all sounds too sweet.
Yeah, I like milk or chocolate milk, and then that's it. And then
what flavor? But jelly beans come in different flavors.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't have one thing going. This is jelly bean flavor.
Right, I understand.
Right.
Although it would be interesting to do a taste test with jelly beans, because I have a hunch that some of them we think are a certain flavor because of their color.
Oh, I can tell you, so they're all the same.
What do you mean they're all the
just
same?
about.
They say that color is like the inside of the jelly beans, right? Is all the same on a lot of brands, and then the color does have some
kind of flavor,
but it's more visual than anything.
Yeah, that's kind of what I.
They did a test where they took made a jelly bean red. They had all the same flavor but put different colors on it. And people go, this one tastes better than this one. They all really were the same.
Oh, that's great.
See, all right. Well, I've tasted different flavors of jelly beans.
Yeah,
right.
like
not knowing what it was.
Like those buttered popcorn ones that are horrendous.
You can definitely tell the difference.
They're awful without seeing what they look like. Yeah.
That's just a bad idea. 8:39 now. Nolan, Malone, and Kullik joining us on the phone. It's Todd Messick from to talk about the Rock Hall inductions. Todd, please tell me you haven't gone to bed yet.
I'm sorry. I got about 2 hours.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll give you
a normal night for us.
Yeah, that's right. So how was it? What struck you about the inductions last night? Was there anything right off the bat you thought, holy cow, I didn't expect that?
Yeah, I got to say, at the end of the night, the induction of Nirvana just lit it up right away with Joan Jett, and then Annie Clark of St. Vincent and Kim Gordon of Sonic Youth. That really put some energy in the room. Not that we needed it, but those, having those women pay tribute to Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, that was pretty powerful. The E Street Band's performance, just, jaw-dropping as always. But I'll tell you what, guys, my favorite night of my favorite moment of the night was in the beginning as they're presenting and introducing the whole night. The word Cleveland came out, and these 10,000 people in Brooklyn in Barclays Center cheered in unison.
Oh, God, I thought you were going to say they booed us.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not kidding. It was really, really, took me aback because they referenced the museum and you're all going to be inducted in Cleveland, and everybody went, yeah, and to hear that, it was beautiful because it reminds you how important the stuff is, and we argue about who's inducted and who's not, but this matters to people. It really is important, and it meant something to them.
Wait,
you're reminded of a night like last night.
So were they cheering for Cleveland?
Yeah, they were cheering.
Well, why was that?
It was, of course, a reference to the museum, but just the word Cleveland. Everybody knew what it was. Everybody knew what we were talking about, and everybody, stood up for the museum and cheered just spontaneously. It was nice.
You gotta like that. Now, there's always, it seems like every year there's at least a little bit of drama surrounding each of the bands or the artists or whatever that are going in. Now, we knew about the whole Kiss deal, and Paul Stanley, who should have just shut up and just showed up, throughout the whole thing is a farce kind of a thing. But we'll be there. Yeah. Was that, what all happened with those guys?
Well, somebody told me yesterday that, people complain the process is messy. It's not really clean. There's not rules. It's rock and roll. It ought to be messy a little bit. But the thing about Kiss, but I say with that we're the owner of the argument. When they stop arguing, we'll be upset. But the thing about Kiss, they were very dignified. everyone referenced all the people who had been in the band over the 40-plus years they've been doing it, and also referenced but who were inducted tonight is the four main characters, the four main people. And, while you kind of expect a little bit of, that's their moment to speak, you expect a little bit of a platform to voice criticism, all four of the guys in KISS they used the word humbled, they were honored, so I really give them credit. They took it, they owned it, they did it for the fans, and it was an appropriate acceptance of the induction honor.
Now, did they perform? Or did they?
Did not.
Okay, because they had said they would not. And I kind of thought that maybe they wouldn't all take the stage together, and they did, and they embraced, and it seemed like they put aside their petty differences for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think it's hard to, at the last minute, especially with a band like KISS, to change your mind, but they did all embrace, which was powerful. And, I'm not one to say, but what we've heard in the past is people come back, like Van Halen or whoever, and say, you know what? That was one night. We should have put our differences aside. We should have played. Because there's lots of gigs, but there's only one induction. So that didn't happen last night with KISS, but I will say they were very, very dignified in their acceptance.
Hey, take us, for people to say, boy, I wish I could have been there. We're talking to Todd Messick about the Rock Hall inductions. Like, what time do you have to get there? How long of a ceremony is it? And how much of a hassle, security-wise, et cetera, is it to get, go through that?
Well, it's interesting because if you guys remember in 2009 in Cleveland, that was the first time we opened it up to the public. That has now become the model. That was a risk for us because remember it's a TV show, it's taped, there's cameras around, and that's when you open it up like that, you introduce a lot of variables. That there was so much energy. That was also the year Metallica got inducted, and I think everybody in the room and people who had been to multiple inductions realized, boy, it's a whole lot different when you invite the fans in. And that's true, and you saw that last night. So it was at Barclays Center, and it was, like at the Q or the public hall or a place like that, you have security and you have appropriate, but it was like coming to an event.
Okay.
And it was, I really give the people at public hall a credit because they set the model now. And remember, next year, it'll be in Cleveland. It'll be the 20th anniversary of the museum next year. And the 30th anniversary of the inductions, that's coming back to Cleveland next year. So you'll be able to find out next year because you'll be able to buy tickets to it in Cleveland.
Now, Linda Ronstadt was not there, correct? I knew she wasn't going to be there. Who inducted her, and how did that whole process work out?
Glenn Fry inducted her, and he was, he sang with her for a lot of times, or for many years.
He was in the backup band in the 70s, right?
Yeah, like the Stone Ponies, right?
Along with Henley, too.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'll tell you, another, speaking of powerful moments, you had Bonnie Raitt, Stevie Nicks, Carrie Underwood, Sheryl Crow, Emmylou Harris paying tribute to Linda Ronstadt.
Wow.
And those voices together, sounded like, something out of a church. It was really, really, those women have some great voices and some great stature. So for them to, all get up there to pay tribute to Ronstadt, it was pretty, I think, telling about the impact she's had.
Were people devastated that Cat Stevens didn't do Moonshadow?
No, but it was another great moment. He is talking about, what Cat has done or not done in the past, 20 years.
Did he go by Cat last night?
No, he goes by Yusuf.
Right, I didn't know if they inducted him as Cat Stevens, though, right?
But he is still this cool, no pun intended, Cat. He's very, very, I think, surprised but honored to be inducted. And he said at the end of his speech, he said, I'm a guy who I don't drink, I don't smoke, I sleep with the same woman every night. That's really not very rock and roll, or that's very rock and roll in the sense you're breaking,
sounds like me.
breaking barriers and breaking kind of traditions, and that's how he characterized his induction. But it was also very, I think, surprised that he got in. But when he got to the mic, that just warm voice that we all know and love, he still got it, and he was really, really good.
Real quick, before we're going to have to let you go here in a second, but I heard that normally there's a lot of major issues between the original band members from Nirvana and Courtney Love. I heard, was there an embrace last night?
There was. So Courtney got up and she and Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic, they accepted, and Courtney accepted too, and they did physically embrace, and it was, for a moment there, they kind of let their differences aside, and I think everybody there was there to really honor the power and the artistry of Kurt Cobain, and they did, and relatively short induction speeches from those folks, but to get then Joan Jett out there singing Kurt Cobain's part with the surviving members of Nirvana, a really nice way to end the night.
Very cool. Well, Todd Messick from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, thanks for taking some time with us here this morning. Must have been a blast. We'll look forward to seeing all the video and the sounds come out of it as we go through the day today. Thank you.
Here next year.
Yeah,
excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Let's talk about tickets. As a matter of fact, we'll be waiting for ours.
We're going to complain about who's not going in next year today. So
hey, let's fight about it, because that's why we're here to charge that debate.
Very good, Todd Messick. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, folks.
All right, 8:49 now. Nolan, Malone, and Kullik. What we got coming up 9:40 here this morning?
Yeah, that's when we talk to Carol Leifer about her memoir, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Crying. Also, we're going to talk about, I was briefly talking about it off the air with you guys, but there was a case where, right out of a movie.
Oh, yeah, this is crazy.
A lady's husband, she's a prosecutor, her husband was kidnapped. People were upset with her. He was hours from death when the FBI rescued him. It was an incredible story.
Wow. Coming up on CBS. What's this drama in the Carolinas? Is that what
the elite FBI rescue team had to rescue a North Carolina man from a 5-day kidnapping ordeal. Now, his daughter works as a prosecutor, so the people were acting on behalf of an inmate named Kelvin Melton, who's at the Polk Correctional Institute. They say the way it went down, he answered a knock at his door.
Oh boy.
When he opened the door.
That's why you have this story.
No, I'm having, because I think
he just looked at me with the.
This is quite a story. He answered a knock at his door. Several people rushed in, assaulted him, tasered him, put him in a car, and drove him across the state lines to Atlanta. On Monday morning, his wife received a series of text messages saying that your husband had been kidnapped, and we will send him back to you in 6 boxes if you call the police. The FBI and the police didn't say anything about this case during this whole time, because I was saying, when did this happen? They didn't want to aggravate the kidnappers, and they told her, every chance we get, we will take someone in your family to Italy and torture them and kill them. We will drive by and gun down anybody and throw a grenade in your window. The threats continued for 5 days. On Wednesday, it became dire. She received a photo of her husband tied up and seated in a chair, and they learned that the captors planned to kill him in a matter of hours. A call was placed from Melton's prison cell phone, which...
How does he have a prison cell? Obviously.
And it advised the man on the other end of the line of how to dispose of the kidnapped victim. It said, let's do it in the wee hours of the morning. And they said, we're going to have him drink a whole bottle of NyQuil, put a bag over his head, and stuff something in his mouth. After the conversation ended, the FBI, they tried to enter his cell. However, he barred the door. He knew they were trying to come in and get him, and then smashed his cell phone.
How do you bar the door in a cell?
I have no idea. Then authorities say they were listening in on a call and they heard a captor say, FBI helicopters are outside. We got to get rid of Holmes. A little more than an hour later, they had rescued him. He was getting medical care. They said he spent 5 nights in the hands of a group of very dangerous people. We don't know what he went through. That's like right out of a movie.
Yeah, that does sound like a movie.
That's like a Justified episode there.
Justified or something, man. That is, where they rescued right in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, but there are questions. I mean, how did they, so they were listening in on these phone calls. How did they know that he was about to be killed in a few hours? Like, because they heard what they were talking about?
Yes. Because they said it was time to get rid of him.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, man.
So
but I would never feel safe again. I mean, they got these guys this time, but if I'm her, I'm thinking my family's in danger forever.
Yeah. Time to leave town.
Yeah, man.
So they call April and say, we have Jimmy. And if you call the police, we're going to put them in 6 boxes. She goes, what if I call the police and the FBI? Will you do it in 12 boxes?
The mistake you're making is that you think that April would have had her cell phone nearby where she would have answered it. They would have called her.
and here's me.
They would have to leave
I don't
a message.
recognize that number.
Right.
Not answering it.
Chip would have never gotten the message in the first place.
April never has her cell phone with her. So, like, I go, honey, and I would say, honey, they called you for 5 days. It was on the bottom of my purse, and I didn't have it.
I didn't hear it.
I had it on silent. Yeah, so sorry you got your ear cut off and everything, honey.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You'll have that. All right, still to come next hour, Carol Leifler is going to hop on with us here at about 9:40, and it's called flirting, spelled Flyrting. Have you ever done this, Kullik? We'll explain that coming up in just a few minutes.
And I'll have Neighbor of the Year. A new contest, Neighbor of the Year, and it's shocking details. It's a story I touched on in the news. More details about a 15-year reign of terror.
15 years?
15-year reign of terror. I'll have more details on it.
Oh, you got to sell before that.